Okay. That's the darkness intro. Yeah. So, if you read the title, yes. This is a video about fucking Blackbeard. So, hunker down your booties and get ready for a video that will borderline go from a Teach Glaze Fest to some really deep stuff. So, before I go further on to the video, I just want to say, yeah, if you want more of this stuff, just tell me you want more of this stuff. And I'll probably do it. So without further ado, let's get into this. Marshall D. Teach, also known as Blackbeard, started off by getting picked up by Whitebeard as a kid, by begging to be on Whitebeard's crew. And eventually he grew up a bit, and then they got Ace onto the crew, of course. Pretty much, like, everything just went a little further. Then Thatch, someone on Whitebeard's ship, gets the Yami Yami no Mi, or the dark fruit. And that had been something that Blackbeard had been waiting for forever. So he just killed Thatch, ate the fruit, and left. The one unforgivable thing a pirate can do on a crew: kill another one of his crewmates. Especially the Whitebeard crew. But that didn't stop Marshall D. Teach. No, because Marshall D. Teach is that demon, okay? He is a demon through and through, with potential multiple personality disorder. Definitely multiple personalities. But let's continue on with this. So, down the line, Teach, he finds some companions in the form of crewmates: Jesus Burgess, Lafitte, Doc Q, and Van Auger. I'd like to find out how they all came to be in his crew, because that backstory has gotta be some stuff. So, after he goes and grabs those dudes on his crew, he starts making quiet moves. So quiet that he goes on Jaya, he eats a whole bunch of pies, and doesn't even set off any alarms. The rest of the crew, however, they kind of be setting off alarms, okay? Everybody else in his crew be doing some crazy stuff. With the exception of Burgess, Doc Q be giving people apples that might potentially explode. Van Auger is taking pot shots at birds from miles away. And Lafitte, we don't know what Lafitte's doing at this. We don't know Lafitte's doing at this point in time until he just shows up, like all willy nilly, all chill and such. Lafitte kind of baller, not gonna lie. So we go from teach at Jaya to teach like going to Bonaro Island, wanting to go to Water 7 to grab Luffy and because he wants a token to offer up to the world government as well, something to become a warlord, which he ends up capturing Ace somehow, low diffing Ace, and that starts the chain of one of his biggest moves of all time, because he single-handedly orchestrated the entirety of the Marineford War just by his actions. It just so happened that he had already wanted to go to Impel Down to destroy a whole bunch of Impel Down and get some crewmates in the most brutal way possible by making the winner of each cell a crewmate. He did that like for 4 cells, and that was brutal. And of course, there was Shiryu. Now, without Shiryu, Blackbeard would have been fucked here, because Magellan would have put an end to him. But Shiryu had the antidote. I know this is a long build-up, but we're getting there. This is kind of a longer video. I'm sorry. So, we get all the way to the Marineford War, which Lafitte, by the way, Lafitte hypnotized the people at the Gate of Justice to let Blackbeard in. It just so happened that the Straw Hats got in too. Well, not the Straw Hats. Luffy and the Impelled Down Squad. Luffy, Buggy, and the Impelled Down Squad. So, after, of course, the events of Marineford, Blackbeard shows up at the opportune time after probably just sitting there watching everybody fighting. Probably eating something. Just chilling there with his homies. And then everybody's like just not even paying attention into the war and shit. He's just like, wow, guys, this is pretty violent. Then eventually people realize he's there. Then what Blackbeard did at Marineford happens. Which is he takes fucking Whitebeard's devil fruit for his own. And he now has 2 devil fruits. Which, in one of the creepiest ways of obtaining a devil's fruit, I'm just saying, what if the only way to obtain someone's devil fruit is to consume their heart? That would be insane. That would be intense. Imagine Teach just ate Whitebeard's heart. Watch that be actually what happens with that. So after the events of Marineford, Blackbeard captures Bonnie somehow and offers Bonnie as a token to get a warship from the Navy, even though that he had just burned that bridge. Who's on the ship that's approaching? Akainu. Blackbeard's like, no, fuck this shit, I'm out. I don't want to deal with Akainu right now. Hightails it. Then eventually, off screen, there's the battle of the rest of the Whitebeard pirates versus Blackbeard, the Revenge War. Then, of course, there's the Revolutionary Army base attack, which we have yet to go further into. Like, what the fuck? I digress. So, Blackbeard, of course, from then, hunt for devil fruits, obtaining some of the most powerful devil fruits. One occurrence is getting Absalom from Thriller Bark, killing Absalom from Thriller Bark, and giving the clear fruit to Shiryu, inadvertently making him Sanji's enemy for the rest of his life. So now we go further. We go to now a part of the story after, of course, Burgess is in does some stuff in Dressrosa. We get to Blackbeard interrupting yet another thing, because he is a man of convenient attacks. The Navy was attacking Amazon Lily, and he wanted the love fruit. So he went to go get that power from Boa Hancock, because he thought it would be a great moment to do so. So Silver's really came and changed that. Blackbeard don't want a huge fight yet. He's saving his huge fight energy for a little bit later. Though he did handle himself against the Pacifista quite well. So we go from Amazon Lily to Winter Island. Could be called Wiener Island because a lot of the near Winter Island it could be called Wiener Island because of all the phallic shaped mountains of various sizes and girths. So outside of Winter Island, Law is caught by Blackbeard lacking. And on the ship, there's Van Augur, Blackbeard, Jesus Burgess, Doc Q, and Stronger. Now, this is one of the sickest things to happen. Hilo Div's Law and almost obtained Siop Op fruit, or Eternal Youth, but it slipped through his hands because Beppo had the crack ball that Chopper had gave him. I mean the rumble ball. So now we go from that, okay? Now we go from that to some side developments. Kuzan joined the crew, and a little while back, and they show a backstory of him where Blackbeard's just all buddy buddy with him. He's talking about Akainu being a dick and shit, and Blackbeard's like all about it. At that point in time, Blackbeard learns about the road poneglyphs. And this is where we start kind of trailing away from the story a bit. And now to the theory parts of what's about to go on in One Piece. So they capture Charlotte Pudding, the only three-eyed person that's known of in the story, who could potentially read the ancient texts, which would be very huge for Blackbeard. So Blackbeard could learn the location of Laughtail. Blackbeard not only captured Kobe and Amazon Lily, and held him as a token to try to get Hachinosu or Full Island registered as a kingdom with Blackbeard as king, which I believe is kind of a silly thing for Blackbeard, but we go further into what he wants. So, what does Blackbeard really want? Well, it definitely isn't a shit ton of cherry pies. They save the world. What Teach really wants is chaos. Like, he just wants a pirate wonderland that's like the bad pirate wonderland. Now, what I think is going to happen, because from this point on, Teach now has Garp in his possession, because Garp came and took Kobe back while Teach was out giving Laws the old ones and twos. And straight up, now he's got the location to 3 secret weapons because Caribou is now there. Everything's just falling into Teach's hands. Okay? So, Teach is going to end up fighting the red hair pirates first. We're going to see it. Teach is going to win. And Luffy's gonna end up fighting Teach probably after the world government. Well, probably a little before the world government, before something huge happens. Like, you know, I have a feeling they're gonna go to Mary Joie to get the children, but they're gonna have to go to Laughtail before, and they're gonna have to fight Blackbeard. Blackbeard was never going to be the final villain. Unfortunately, it's just Blackbeard Blackbeard is meant to be the last thing in the way of the One Piece for Luffy. Or the last thing in the way for many things of Luffy. Because the one concurrent thing that Blackbeard does throughout the timeline of One Piece is he prevents he prevents Luffy from doing stuff in the first half. Every action that Blackbeard made in the first half was to spite Luffy somehow and get power, and somehow he gets both. Now he's got not only his brother's dead body underneath his plans, but he's also got Whitebeard underneath this. He's also got Garp in Teach custody. He's also, as I said, there was that Revolutionary Army stuff. And, he just keeps picking fight with Luffy's family. So, at some point, they're gonna have to face off. But Teach isn't going to be the end all. And if Teach somehow is the end all, I'd color myself wrong. So this is a video about how Teach is probably going to be the second last big thing Luffy has to go against. And yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe. Devin out. Don't forget to drink your water.